I grew up thinking I was dumb.
Body image and my job title.
Insecurity as a CEO. Just kind of over-identifying with your startup.
I was like deeply insecure about for like over 10 years of my life.
If I want to do something, I beat basically everyone that wants to do that thing. So I'm like, whoa, damn, I'm pretty damn smart.
I hated myself. I couldn't take pictures of myself or like look in the mirror.
Becoming a founder becomes your whole identity. It's your whole life. It's your whole mind.
You're fat, or like you're too skinny, or like you're never good enough, you know? I used to be like so fast. I broke school records, huge part of my identity. But because I was injured, like feeling like a low performer, a part of myself was gone.
It's a combination of being more vulnerable with your insecurities that lets you overcome them because you can interact with them with other people. Plus also...
Hey guys, it's Maggie. So today we're at the Bunny House. I have a bunch of content creators and founders around me. Do you guys want to like introduce yourself? Like say your name, maybe like what you do, what you're passionate about?
I'm Eugene. I'm a content creator. I make content about ADHD. My Instagram is at ADHD Founder.
My name is Fahad. I'm a founder / content creator. I make podcasts about successful entrepreneurs and how they did what they did. You can find me on YouTube at Ahmed Fahad.
Hello, I'm Anthony. I'm building Flirtual, the first VR dating app. You can find me on Twitter at Existony.
Yo, howdy everyone. I'm Grace. I'm a founder, content creator, and a designer. I run this company called Design Buddies, and I create content about design and career. Find me everywhere on the internet at Grace Ling, L-I-N-J.
Hello, I am Rox Codes. I make codes. I make tools for YouTubers and other content creators. I'm at Rox Codes on everything with an X.
Is it okay if we go around and share MBTI? Like I already know some of your guys' MBTI. I kind of just want to like share our MBTI.
I'm ESFP Entertainer.
INTJ.
Oh, cool.
ENFP/ENTJ. It depends on my context. At work, I'm more of an ENTJ, but usually I'm an ENFP.
I'm also an ENTJ. Commander type? Yeah. Oh my god, high five!
I've never felt more like an imposter than walking into a room with 5 people who can off-rip remember the 4 letters they got on a test I took 8 years ago. That's crazy. I think INTJ sounds right. I have no idea. EFQ. Yeah.
I'm INFJ.
Oh, insecurities.
Oh, damn.
I'll go there, but...
How about this past insecurities?
Yeah, past
that
insecurities.
makes it easier for people to talk about.
Yeah, past
Past
insecurities. And
insecurities.
how you win over it. How you got
You want to go like
Yeah. Eugene keeps starting. What did I used to be insecure about? I think I used to care a lot more about how I looked. And then like at some point I had solved enough problems that I felt like I passed a bar of quality where I was like, good enough. And most importantly, I got a girlfriend, which really helped. So like once I had a girlfriend, I really stopped caring, which isn't like to say, I let myself go. I mean, I'm exactly the same as I was when we started dating. But I think, I don't know if you ever hear that thing of like, did you get over it or did it just stop triggering you kind of thing, where it's like, did you overcome a thing or did you just get to a point in life where that stops coming up for you? And for me, it's like it stopped coming up for me. So I think I used to care a lot more about how I looked. I was like, I got to go to the gym. I got to get jacked or, no one's ever going to give a crap. Like genuinely, it really messed with me for a while. Like to the point where I like injured myself in the gym and I'm like in physical therapy now. It was like a whole thing. Yeah. But I like don't even think to look in mirrors anymore. Like genuinely, I'll be like, oh shit, I got a mole. And I'll like notice it a month after it shows up. Cause that is how little I think about that like physicality anymore, which is super random, but just like, yeah, I think I used to care about a lot and now I never even think about, like not even a second thought.
I relate with that. I'm gonna go really deep into this actually. 2 things, body image and my job title. Those 2 things that I was like deeply insecure about for like over 10 years of my life. So growing up in a family of Asians, well, I don't want this to say like all Asians are like this or like kind of generally, but I feel like sometimes in culture it'd be like, oh, like you need to eat more or like, oh, you ate too much or whatever, like you're fat or like you're too skinny or like you're never good enough, And also like running cross country and track. I had such an amazing time running competitive running, but I feel like body image was such a huge thing because a lot of the girls on my team would also like try to like starve themselves to be like the lightest and run the fastest, and I was also deeply impacted by that. I also been creating content since 2014 on Tumblr. I would like post pictures of myself racing. I was like, oh, look at me, I'm so cool, I'm racing. But I'll get so many trolls like commenting on my body and stuff, how I was too skinny, too fat, whatever. And so it really got to me as a kid, like this impressionable high school kid. So I also like starved myself and just like was really, yeah, it was really bad. So I led to, because I starved myself, I also, it actually made me really fast. But like it wasn't long term. Like 2014, my best year for cross country, but also like worst year for my body image. And I got all these like injuries. So I graduated high school 2015, ran cross country and track in college, but I didn't really get to compete in college because I kept getting injured because I was starving myself. And so I stopped running for a couple of years and just like I just hated myself. I couldn't take pictures of myself or like look in the mirror, or I barely post on Instagram or social media. I used to be like so fast. I broke school records, huge part of my identity, but because I was injured, like feeling like a low performer, part of myself was gone. And I was just like, I hate myself. Like I was like, oh, I did this to myself. Like I just like was so deeply like hatred of my own body because it couldn't perform the way it used to. That used to bring me so much joy and recognition. And I feel like recently I just like got over it because I feel like I accomplished a lot in such a short time. I was like, wow, I should just like see myself based on my ability, like body image, like like who cares what I look like, as long as I'm doing cool shit, helping bring people together doesn't really matter anymore. And then I was also deeply insecure about like my job title, or like my major. Like in college, I had an engineering major I was like really proud of, but when I graduated college, I was like, I don't know what I want to do in my life. So I cared too much about like my job title. I just like felt really insecure about what I did for work. And quitting my job recently, I was like, because part of it is like I stopped caring about my job title and I was like, I'll just do whatever I want. I'm just vibing. So honestly, I feel like I couldn't talk about these things if you were talked to me like 6 weeks ago. I feel like moving to SF has really like done something to me. Like, who cares what I look like? I'm gonna like dancing in public. I don't care. It's like I had so many things I just wanted to share and so much like cool things I want to do, but I just let the way I viewed myself stop to me. So 2023 is a process of just like unlearning that. Like, yeah, I'm just Grace. I'll show up whatever I want. Go to all these trips because I denied so many opportunities for myself just because I didn't like the way I looked. And I am now telling myself to like fuck that and just keep going.
So an insecurity I had, which I think is a lot better, but it's still an ongoing thing, would be insecurity as a CEO. Just kind of over-identifying with your startup. So always feeling like you're not doing enough, or like, I'm not technical, my co-founder is the one, slamming the product. I'm helping a lot with design, but it's like, oh, I'm not contributing enough, or like the team, I'm not a good enough leader, or like we don't have enough money, that's my problem. Like all these things in the company, you over-identify with it so much. So I think that led me to pretty dark places. Like, it's like, how do you cope with that? And it was just like distracting myself, feeling more guilty about it, or like doubling down on work and grinding too hard about it. I think that can really, because you're so identified as a founder. When you start becoming a founder, it becomes your whole identity. People start identifying you as a founder. It's your whole life. It's your whole mind. It's not a bad thing. Maybe it's a bad thing, but it's just a thing. And so I think identifying with your startup can be really bad for you if you're in a bad space. We're in a much better space now. Like, we have a lot more growth. We broke even, all these things. And I don't necessarily feel better because of that. I felt better because I distanced myself from the results. I was like, and I got more validation from people that I was better at these things. Like, I opened up about my vulnerabilities, and I had conversations with my co-founder, had conversations with team members, let go of certain team members. And it's like, oh, maybe I'm not maybe not a bad leader. Maybe we just didn't have the right people on the team, and now we have much better people on the team, and it's like much more harmonious and much more productive. So yeah, I think it's a combination of being more vulnerable with your insecurities that lets you overcome them because you can interact with them with other people, plus also distancing yourself from the results of your own actions, because you can only control the process. And with a startup, it's such a long-term marathon that you can't just over-index on where you are at any current point. Like, the long-term vision has to carry you through, in my opinion. You can't just be caught up in the depths or even the highs. Like, if you over-identify with the highs, then you just feel like shit the day after when there's another low. So yeah.
Do you mind if I take it? I kind of want to respond to this.
Yeah.
Because I like relate with some things. So okay, I can talk about like past insecurities, but also then like past and like current ones that I'm like still overcoming. So I think past insecurities, I feel like the more you kind of understand your mind and understand yourself, like the more you understand like why your mind works the way it works and stuff like that, the more you can like overcome your insecurities kind of. Before, I think like especially like probably like high school, I was insecure that like it seemed like my mind like worked slower than other people's, or it was like, for instance, if someone were to crack a joke, like I would take it very literally. Like my mind was like very literal. So if it was like if it was sarcasm, like I could not tell, or like I couldn't understand specific social cues, like social hints. And I literally had to like actively like learn specific like social cues. Like the social norms just did not come easily to me. And then, so yeah, we talked about this, but like basically I learned recently that I'm like probably on a spectrum, like the autistic spectrum, and then suddenly everything makes so much sense. So like the processing thing, I think a lot of people on the spectrum, it's like you processing slower because you're processing more. I think you're processing like 30 to 40% more than neurotypicals. So since you're taking so much information at once, it takes longer for you to take in that information. Yeah, and in terms of me ignoring like social constructs and stuff, like all that made like so much more sense. Oh yeah, and also like to respond to your point, I think like, yeah, like I like in high school I thought I like loved myself fully. Like I thought I loved myself, but like a few years ago I went through like some really severe like mental health things, and that allowed me to access like my not conscious parts of my mind, like subconscious or even unconscious. Like I could access those parts of my mind, and I realized that I think to some extent, or like some parts of me, I really did not like myself. Like yeah, I like realized like all these insecurities that I had, and I think past few years especially, like I've just like learned to love myself more and more, to like fully like love and embrace myself. And I think that's like so important. And I think yeah, part of the thing that I'm still like working on is the fact that like my mind works differently, and like what other people may enjoy, I just like naturally don't really enjoy. Like for instance, like I feel like other people, like if they go to like a large social event and they don't know anyone, and like even like just using alcohol and like just like partying, like I don't find as much meaning in that. Like for me, I would have to, like for me it's like interesting, sorry I'm like kind of rambling. I think most people it's like, oh, like they start off with like small talk and then they dive deeper. For me, I have to know I can trust that person first. So I like might like be more comfortable starting with deeper conversation, and once I know I can trust them as a person, then there will be more banter, because I have that initial trust to be more of like myself in the aspects that are like not as like serious.
The question was about insecurities, right?
Yeah, what were you insecure about?
So much, right? But yeah, I think one of the things that really defined or shaped who I am today was an insecurity I had as a child. So quick backstory is my mom and dad split up when I was 6 years old-ish. And that, so I grew up in Bangladesh, which is like right next to India, and very similar social norms where like it's very stigmatized to kind of grow up in a single family or single parent household. And, you know, my mom basically raised me. I was very insecure, and my mom, you know, was also pretty insecure. The fact that, hey, we're a single parent household, and, you know, you have to quote unquote achieve and show them and like, you know, prove people wrong, that, hey, the norm or the status quo is society doesn't really expect much from you because you're from a quote unquote broken family. And yeah, I think that was a big chip on my shoulder. Growing up, I was very insecure. I didn't want to make friends too deeply because, hey, if I have like, if I'm too close to someone, they'll probably, you know, want know more about me, maybe come over to my house or like, you know, get to know more. And I always wanted to hide the fact that, hey, you know, things are not really super good back home. And so I always avoided getting too close to anyone, right? And yeah, I was very achievement oriented. Always wanted to kind of prove my self-worth both to myself as well as to my mom, and as well as to like, you know, everyone I thought really cared, but probably they didn't. But yeah, that really defined how much effort I put in, or how I kind of, you know, went about life growing up. Yeah.
So my insecurity is I didn't know I had ADHD growing up, and in primary school I got put into a separate English class, and everyone graduated from that class in a year. It took me 8 years. So I grew up thinking I was dumb, but in actual fact is that I did not pay attention in class at all. I was just fidgeting, playing around in my mind. And growing up, I got called names as well because they thought I was different. So that was my biggest insecurity, is thinking that I was dumb. But then after after I graduated high school, I can do what I want. And I'm like, if I want to do something, I beat basically everyone that wants to do that thing. So I'm like, whoa, damn, I'm pretty damn smart. So like it kind of reframed my thinking into like, I just need to do what I love. And if I do what I love, I'm the smartest person in that industry. But if I don't do what I love, or someone else is controlling me in a way that I don't want to do the activity, then I'm not going to focus, I'm not going to pay attention.
So that's it for this video. Thank you everyone for sharing. It was great hearing everyone's points. Thank you for being vulnerable. Is there like any last point anyone wants to share? I think we're good.
Thank you.
Tell your limiting beliefs to fuck off.
Alright, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye everyone.
Like and subscribe!